Energy is life. We all need it, and it's a source of progress. So today, to contribute to the sustainable development of the planet facing the climate challenge, we are moving forward, together, towards new energies. Energy is reinventing itself, and this energy journey is ours. Our ambition is to be a world-class player in the energy transition. That is why Total is transforming and becoming Total Energies.
We let it all out, we're well concealed. And every moment when I'm with you, it's a blessing. No more stressing. So if you want to, come and hold me. Yeah, I know you need some cure for all the pain. What can I do? I keep falling for you. Run for so true. I keep falling for you.
This is a story of how it started.
Good afternoon, Your Excellencies, ambassadors, guest speakers, panelists, as well as colleagues and members and non-members who have joined us for this afternoon on the special webinars in advance of the first Asia-Europe Economic Business Forums that will happen on the 24th of November. So for this special webinars, we aim to promote and also give the opportunities for our colleagues and also the Ministry of Commerce to share relevant information about the business forum itself. So without any further delay, and as seen because we have started slightly late, so may I please invite Her Excellency Tekreth Kamrang, Secretary of State of the Ministry of Commerce, for her opening remarks. Thank you.
Thank you. Could you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Good afternoon. May I pay my respect to Her Excellency Carmen Moreno, European Union Ambassador to Cambodia, Excellency Samheng Bora, Undersecretary of State, Ministry of Commerce, Cambodia, Mr. Tassilo, Brinzer, Chairman of the EuroCham Cambodia, Mr. Denis Sainte-Marie, Executive Director of EuroCham Cambodia, distinguished national and international guests, Excellency, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Excellency Minister of Commerce, I'm delighted to be here with all of you in this audit webinar under the theme Discover Cambodia Business Trends and Opportunity. I would like to express my sincere appreciation to EuroCham Cambodia for organizing this very important webinar. I highly commend the hard work and strong commitment of EuroCham Cambodia for your mission in promoting and facilitating business and investment in Cambodia. This is adding up to the strong support by European Union delegation to Cambodia. And European Union has been a long-standing friend with Cambodia, and also the second biggest market for Cambodian products. We highly appreciate European Union for your commitment and effort to build a bright future for Cambodia with the royal government of Cambodia. Taking this opportunity, I would like to congratulate EuroCham for the two special electronic edition, namely e-sourcing from Cambodia and e-business opportunity in Cambodia. And this edition also highlight the key important event that will happening on the 24th of November at a sideline of the ASEM 13, the first Asia-Europe Economic and Business Forums. I do believe that these two documents will contribute significantly to attract more business and investment to Cambodia for the mutual benefits. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, the COVID pandemic has affected social and economic development for countries around the world, including Cambodia. And during this challenging time, the royal government of Cambodia, under auspicious leadership of the Prime Minister, has introduced various prevention measures to contain outbreaks and successfully vaccinated over 87% of the total population. And now the country is fully open, start from today, and the upon arrival, you no need to quarantine and only do the performing the rapid test at the place. In addition, the government of Cambodia has released several economic stimulus measures to mitigate the impacts of this pandemic and enabling the economic activity to recuperate and transition to a new normal quickly. Cambodia is committed to economic diversification under bilateral and multilateral frameworks, embracing digitalization, and also continue to perform legal and institutional reform and implementation of open policy, including economic recovery plan 2021-2023, in order to achieve our ambition through transition to a higher income country in the year 2050. As you may be aware that Cambodia has gained wider market access through preferential trade agreements we got from EU also and other free trade agreements, for instance, Cambodia, China free trade agreements, Cambodia, Korea free trade agreement, and regional free trade agreement, RCEP. And recently, Cambodia has promulgated a law on investment, which aims to establish a favorable legal framework to attract and promote quality investment, which will substantially contribute to enhance competitiveness through generous investment scheme and investment guarantees. For that, the active participation and engagement from the private sectors in driving and promoting economies is of vital importance. As you know, private sector is an engine of growth. Therefore, I would like to encourage all business community, especially business community from the European Union, to explore more trade and investment to the country and seizing the opportunity of existing free trade agreement, trade preference for mutual growth and prosperity. And Royal Government Cambodia, especially Ministry of Commerce, we are ready, we are here with all of you, with all the private sector to support you, to facilitate you for your growth. We want to see you grow, we want to see you prosper in Cambodia. And once again, I'd like to express my sincere thanks to all of you, Excellency, all distinguished guests for spending time with us today. I wish you all the best of heart, happiness and successful in your business. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your opening remarks. So please next, may I invite Her Excellency Carmen Moreno, the EU Ambassador to Cambodia, for her opening remarks and as well as her insight on the European Union Cambodia partnership together for a sustainable and equitable growth. Thank you, Your Ambassadors.
Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me all right. Her Excellency Tekreth Kamrang, Secretary of State of the Ministry of Commerce of the Royal Government of Cambodia. Mr. Tassilo Brinzer, Director EuroCham, Chairman EuroCham, sorry. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. This year, 2021, is very special for us. Next week, the 13th ASEM Summit will take place, hosted by Cambodia. And we will also launch the first Asia-Europe Economic and Business Forum as a side event of this summit. All this will happen while we celebrate the 25th anniversary of the Asia-Europe meeting, ASEM, a significant milestone in our relations as equal partners. It is therefore my pleasure to participate here today in this outreach webinar, a very opportune introduction to these events taking place in the coming days around the ASEM Summit, and a reflection of the challenges and opportunities that we face in the post-pandemic context. The first Asia-Europe Economic and Business Forum will take place as both continents are reopening their economies and starting the path towards recovery from the pandemic. Both trade and investment will be essential to this recovery to sustain growth and create new jobs. The European Union has worked in partnership with Cambodia for more than 2 decades to contribute to the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals and to support Cambodia's endeavor to become an upper middle income economy by 2030. The preferential access we granted to Cambodia to the European market has contributed to the development of a dynamic export industry that became the foundation for high growth rates and better quality jobs. It will certainly contribute in the future if the majority of Cambodia's exports enjoy duty and quota-free access to the European market under the EBA preferences scheme. Unfortunately, for the past 2 years, all over the world, we have suffered the consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic that has caused terrible damages to our economies and our societies. In Cambodia, a very efficient and highly successful vaccination campaign has set up the road to reopening and recovery. The adoption of the new investment law will be an important tool to attract more and better quality investment, increase diversification and competitiveness of the industry, and provide more and higher value jobs for the country. In this context, full of challenges and opportunities, the partnership with the European Union offers a strong advantage to Cambodia in terms of technical expertise it can bring to the relation. In this regard, let me make a quick reference to the 3 pillars on which we will be building on our partnership through our new cooperation program. First, to attract quality investment to the country, the development of a positive, transparent, and predictable business climate is essential. The European Union offers to continue working with the government to strengthen the business environment, facilitate trade, help business meet international quality, environmental and labor standards, and streamline customs procedures. I look forward to meeting with His Excellency Brinzer, the Minister for Commerce, who could not be here today to discuss the continuity and future of our collaboration. Within this pillar, let me mention also our work in support of the public finance management for a policy-based, transparent, and accountable public budget, which will continue in our future engagement. We will expand our support to legislation drafting, strengthening the rule of law, advancing anti-corruption initiatives, and developing mechanisms for dispute resolution and legal aid. The expertise of the European Union can provide a high quality and technically substantial contribution in this area. Let me now refer to the second pillar, human resources and education. The European Union has been a strong partner in support of the education sector. For the next period, we also want to support the skills training and the development of a strong policy on technical and vocational training. Cambodia will need to develop the skills of its labor force to be able to attract better investment, move into higher value sectors, and embrace digitalization. We have also witnessed the serious impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on international trade, with supply chains put under stress, unprecedented supply shortages, and the disruption of trade. We face now the challenges of climate change, the need to reverse environmental damage, and embrace the green energy transition towards renewable and sustainable energy sources. The European Union is stepping up its commitment to promote sustainable and responsible value chains, including by pursuing additional mandatory due diligence initiatives. With upcoming legislative proposals, the European Union will upgrade the due diligence obligations and streamline responsible businesses across different economic sectors and along the supply chains. In our partnership with Cambodia, we will work to build more resilient and sustainable value chains, to integrate the country better in the ASEAN economic community, and make more strategic use of the opportunities the regional and international value chains offer to the country. In this partnership with Cambodia, we will work with national policies and ASEAN mechanisms, such as the Comprehensive Recovery Framework. We will leverage our grants, concessional loans, guarantees for the private sector, and regional facilities, including for green and climate financing and infrastructure. In addition, we will support the role of Cambodia as chair of ASEAN during next year to lead the region towards a sustainable, green, and inclusive recovery. In our partnership with Cambodia, we have 2 more added advantages. We do not work alone. We work together with our member states, many of them also strong partners of Cambodia, and they mobilize their own resources and expertise to support the country. For the next period, we will work in a more integrated manner, and we will develop joint and flagship Team Europe initiatives for more impact and results. And the second advantage is EuroCham and European businesses in the country, which bring together a vast array of technical knowledge and expertise, responsible practices, and high labor, environmental, and sustainability standards. We need more than ever the private sector to contribute, and here in Cambodia, it can play a lead role in promoting responsible business practices in compliance with international norms. As we enter this post-pandemic period, we will find many challenges, but also many opportunities. The European Union will keep on working with Cambodia as the partners we are to lay the foundations that will allow the country to seize the opportunities and build back better, a more sustainable, inclusive, and resilient future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your opening remarks. So next on the agenda item, may I please invite Mr. Tassilo Brinzer, the chairman of EuroCham, for your opening remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Ratanak. Your Excellencies, Tekreth Kamrang and Bora Samheng from the Ministry of Commerce, Ambassador, dear partners, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to today's webinar to discover Cambodia business trends and opportunities. I'm particularly glad that this first event on this topic is held with the support of our regional chamber network and colleagues from European chambers in the region, and supported by the European ASEM Business Council in Singapore. We are planning to hold more of these regional events with our colleagues in other ASEAN countries and to contribute to more open exchanges and mutual support initiatives between our markets. As the region grows together, this cooperation will be essential to bring more European business to Cambodia and into the region. Exactly today, Cambodia has opened its borders again to international travelers. This move comes at the perfect time as the whole region begins to open up. And it is a logical consequence of the successful Cambodian containment and vaccination campaigns of the past 9 months since the country's renowned and feared February outbreak. While the Cambodian economy has suffered, the pandemic has not caused the heavy impact some of us feared. We were able to continue much of our work, although the very important tourism and hospitality sectors and export industries have suffered. In particular, the garment and footwear industry was hurt by supply chain and logistics interruptions in the past 3 years and is now looking to recover, also by adapting to new challenges brought to the sector by the pandemic, but also by rising expectations of global brands, clients, and legislators. In particular, the green economy will present new challenges to this industry, and we hope that we can contribute by our activities here to mastering them. Today, one can experience the capital in full swing again, and the city comes to life more and more on a daily basis, with traffic jams unheard of for almost a year, almost back to normal. EuroCham has in the past years promoted Cambodia as a +1 destination, ideally located between Vietnam and Thailand, and we will continue to promote the kingdom to our colleagues and partners from the other European chambers of commerce in the region, and to businesses with an interest in expanding to Cambodia. Cambodia, as a manufacturing and business hub, offers preferential access to Europe via the EBA, the Everything But Arms Agreement, to producers from the region, but also those who wish to diversify their ASEAN production base and global supply chain. While the EBA has seen a reduction of tariff-free access to 80% of products from Cambodia in 2020, with the 20% cuts imposed by the European Union representing lower value products, I do expect that by 2022, these 80% will still represent more than the 100% of exports that were reached in 2019. And as the EU ambassador has mentioned, hopefully by a higher quality jobs and products. As Cambodia takes on the ASEAN chairmanship in 2022, we all expect that the kingdom's economy will fast reach its pre-pandemic levels of growth, not least supported by a modernized investment law improved on many levels, both horizontally and vertically, and the beginning embrace of green business and related policies. You can find out more about the law on investment on our website and at any time via a request to our team and the contact details available on our site. But also let me from here share some of my personal experiences in the kingdom and how I started my business from the perspectives of an entrepreneur. When coming to Cambodia, I launched a hospitality business, which still exists today. And after a few years of back and forth between Germany and Cambodia, I decided to go all in and launch a second business in media production, and later a third in brand development, market entry support, and events management. One advantage I felt at the time was unique to Cambodia was its welcoming of investors, 100% foreign ownership of a business, comparably little red tape, a knowledge and business hungry young population. Following the establishment of these first businesses, I got together with international partners less than a decade ago and launched a craft brewery, today a renowned brand with multiple outlets and very popular with Cambodians from all ways of life. During all these years, I have witnessed an incredible growth in society on multiple levels, something which to my knowledge, only very few societies ever experience in such short time. A few decades only since Cambodia has entered a new phase of growth since the 1990s. Education levels of the workforce have multiplied and actually probably doubled every decade since. So have businesses and business networks. The infrastructure of the country continues to be improved by the day. Public services are visibly beautifying the capital and provincial cities, such as the coastal city of Sihanoukville, or right now, the cultural capital, Siem Reap. I now look much forward to the coming years and to continue the journey here in Cambodia. As the region grows together and trade and investment are to, at some point, flow more seamlessly between our markets, I do believe that Cambodia is perfectly placed for your journey in this part of Southeast Asia. Please do not hesitate to contact me at any time for advice and insight on this exciting market. Our team is likewise always at your disposal to help and guide you in your Cambodian journey. I look very much forward to meeting more of our colleagues here again, from the region, from the world, and to increase business with each other and between our markets. I would also like to thank Her Excellency Tekreth Kamrang and His Excellency Bora Samheng from the Ministry of Commerce for their support here today. And of course, and as always, EU Ambassador Carmen Moreno for her and the European Union's ongoing support of EuroCham and our work here. Thank you very much for your attention, and please enjoy today's presentations and insights shared by our team. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tassilo, for your insightful opening remark. So please allow me, before we move on into next speakers, allow me to thank our regional partners for their support in today's webinar session, especially to the EU ABC and as well as the Philippines European Chamber of Commerce in the Philippines. So next, may I please invite His Excellency Samheng Bora, Undersecretary of State of the Ministry of Commerce, for his presentation on transiting to a new normal, leveraging global value chains, multilateral, and the 4IO. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you. Mr. Ketratna. Let me share my screen a bit. A good afternoon to Your Excellency Tekreth Kamrang, Secretary of State of the Ministry of Commerce. A good afternoon to Her Excellency Carmen Moreno of the European Union. And a good afternoon as well to Mr. Tassilo Brinzer, the Chairman of the EuroCham, as well as Denis, the Executive Director of the EuroCham. It is a wonderful time to be able to present to all of our distinguished delegates, as well as all of the representatives from the many Chamber of Commerces. And we do hope to have your engagement as well as your support for the program that we are preparing. Nonetheless, we have had support from all of the Chambers of Commerce, and this is without due that we want to also give a special thanks to the EuroCham as well for giving us the opportunity as in terms of organizing this event to help promote the Asia-Europe Economic and Business Forum as well. So without further ado, I hope to give you a very short presentation on the programs and some of the concept that we have come up with and how we will be proceeding with the event itself. As you already know, the first Asia-Europe Economic and Business Forum is a side event of the ASEM 13 to be held on the 24th of November, with a side event to be held on the 23rd in partnership with the EuroCham, and to be a precursor to the main event itself, the ASEM Summit on the 25th and the 26th of November. The content of the program is as follows. Oh, I'm sorry. I will just present to you a bit about our concept notes, mention the program, some bits of the history, of course, a showcase of our website, and then I will just mention a short bit on the key dates that we will hope to have your engagement with us. So a brief history of the program itself. The actual Asia-Europe Economic and Business Forum is actually a consolidation of two different programs. The first program is called the Asia-Europe Business Forum. And then the second program is called the Asia-Europe Economic Forums. The Business Forum is always hosted by the host country of the ASEM. And then the Asia-Europe Economic Forum is actually a flagship program of the Bruegel. And Bruegel usually either hold it as a side event of ASEM, or they would hold it as an event independently. I believe that in 2019, they actually hold it in Berlin as an independent program. So both programs, we had spoken with the key people from both the Business Forum and the Asia-Europe Economic Forums. Initially, it was very difficult to combine those forums together, but upon further consultations with ASEF, the Asia-Europe Foundation, as well as all of the ASEM member states, we were able to consolidate both programs together because they are very similar in terms of concept and talking points. Once we proposed it together to be a physical event, but of course, due to COVID, we had to change how it would proceed. So the first milestone was basically just that the government had asked the MOC along with the CDC to take control of the coordination of the program, and after which the CDC had requested that the MOC would take lead in the preparation of the program itself. Further on, we had met with all of the entities involved, and we had decided to combine both programs together. But then after that, because of the emergence of COVID, things changed. There were many delays, but after so many consultation, it became one. And due to COVID, it moved from a physical event into a virtual event. Nonetheless, we are here today and has launched the program as a virtual event in October of 2021 by His Excellency Minister through a press conference at the MOC. And it will be held on the 24th. So this is just a short briefing of the history. This history is actually 2 years of in preparation. I believe that initially I was speaking with Arnold from the EuroCham, and it's changed to Tassilo. So the procession of it all is a very, very long gestating preparation of the program. So until now, we do have some fact to present to you related to the program itself. The Asia-Europe Economic and Business Forum will be proceeding under the theme, Transition to a New Normal, Leveraging Global Value Chains, Multilateralism, and the Fourth Industrial Revolution. It will be held on the 24th of November, and with a side event on the 23rd as well. And it will be a virtual format. We will have a physical event held at the Ministry of Commerce, but we'll be only inviting 53 participants, including representatives from our main partners in terms of preparation. For the speakers, we have speakers with experiences from many countries, over 25 countries, and probably more, as we have seen some of their credentials with work very diverse in multinational corporations. We have 436 invitations already have been disseminated, and we are opening 1,000 to registration to the public as well, which can be engaged through our website. The program itself will include 2 world leaders, 9 female representatives, 2 young leader representatives, 10 business leaders, 10 high-level officials, and 6 academics, and 3 representatives from the international organizations. So the main aspect, or the conceptual overview of our program is actually to to bring the world back to where it was, I guess, to actually seek out some ways, some ideas from the academics, from the world leaders, from the policymakers, from the business leaders, on how they would be able to see as we develop or transition into this new normal. There are many talks about whether nearshoring is more beneficial than to, source your products from further away locations or suppliers. And we want to understand this part. We want to understand whether the global value chain will change differently. Will we still be valuing globalization, or are we going to, see the new trends of staying safe, keep it in the borders, which is not something that we want. To be honest, we want to have ideas, and we want to highlight the ideas that the world needs to be a business needs to be a worldly entity where trade should be done across borders, and it does not matter the mileage between countries. So this is something very important to us, and we want to figure that out. And as Ms. Moreno and Tassilo had mentioned earlier as well, and along with Her Excellency Kamrang, is the idea of the future of doing business. There are many talks on how green infrastructure is the future, green businesses is the future, corporate social responsibility is the future of how the world is developing. And this is one of the reasons why especially His Excellency Minister was so keen on partnering with the EuroCham in preparing the side event on the 23rd on corporate social responsibilities. So this is just a slight ideas of how we come up with the concept note. The new normal is inspiring many new ways of doing business. We are using Zoom to have a webinar. We're not, meeting in person. This is digitalization. This is the fourth industrial revolution. Many companies has been able to benefit from the fourth industrial revolution, but many others have not understand very much on how to benefit from the fourth industrial revolution. So this is another approach that we want to see as well. We have invited many participants in from the tech sector in order to give their thoughts on the idea. The actual themes of the program is very inclusive. We want to make sure that we can have a forum where speakers are well represented. They are from various background with a very diverse field of work. We have a female business leader from Estonia who is specialized in tech. This is something quite rare. We've seen the percentages, and it's not favorable to between the segregation between the females and male leaders in the tech sector. But she has proven to be very knowledgeable in terms of how she would think technology would be able to move forward. For me, as personally, I do not want to mention that because there's a difference between the performance or whatnot, because I do believe that she is able to perform on a male dominant sector with incredible results. So she will be able to share quite a bit of insights onto how she views the tech industry as we move forward. Other themes that we are going forward with as well include things like digitalization, multilateral trading system. We have seen many new free trade agreements going forward. I believe every time there is a new signing of some free trade agreement, I remember the EU signed with Vietnam, and it was the talk of the town. So we want to understand a bit more on how that would benefit the world. Cambodia had recently signed with China, and we are working with Korea, which should be finalized very soon. It's finalized, but we are doing the ceremonial process very soon. So we want to understand this as well. We are inviting RCEP leaders, RCEP representatives to speak about the regional comprehensive programs as well, on how we would be able to benefit from that, on how the private sector would be able to benefit from that. There are ideas on investments as well, but on these terms, we want to highlight the investments in green, in the green businesses, in the green way of doing business. And on that note, I believe that there are representatives from sustainable with sustainability backgrounds, and they will be speaking on how they would see the world changing from, because what we understand is that COVID, while there are many negative aspects that it has caused to the economy, one thing it has brought forth is the idea that disaster does happen. And when disasters happen, if we are not ready for it, it's going to impact very negatively on the world economy. So on that note, everybody seems a lot more keen on the idea of how to alleviate climate change. And this is something that we have seen as a trend in the world. And I don't know if this is truth or not, but it could also be one of the reasons why Tesla is going up, like crazy. So we want to understand that a bit more on how does investment in green businesses would be able to impact the future. Is this the answer to the future? Is this the answer to policy making? Is that the answers to economic recovery? So that was the main aspect of the program itself. I have been preaching this slide multiple times already, so I won't bore everyone with extended explanation of it all. I will just present a bit on the program structures that we have. It is a full day program on the 24th of November. We will break it out into 2 sessions. However, we do have an opening session where it includes 6 opening remarks. This includes 2 world leaders as well in there. And then we would move on to a presentation from the leadership of the WTO, as well as the leadership of the Cambodia Development Council. And then we have 2 representatives from the ASEM Young Leader Summit, one of whom is from Cambodia and the other is from Europe, one of whom is male and the other is female as well. And they will be presenting on economic diplomacy, a specialty of theirs. We have a panel discussion in the morning session as well. This will be moderated by His Excellency Pan Sovichit and an Undersecretary of State at the Ministry of Commerce. And we will have 5 distinguished delegates joining him as panelists. The afternoon session, this is probably one of the main sessions because we do understand that a full day event in Cambodia is not too convenient for our European participants. And therefore, we will be recording the entire morning session so that we could be able to put all of those videos on display at our website so that the European participant could be able to review it afterwards on the website itself. The afternoon session will include 2 panel discussions with a closing remarks. The first panel discussion will be moderated by our own Tassilo in this forum as well. And I am very happy to have Tassilo agree to be moderating this event. It is an honor, and I do hope to see a wonderful discussion coming from yourself. Joining Mr. Tassilo, we have high distinguished delegates as well, including 5 of them, and we are going to hopefully be able to understand a bit more on how the 4th Industrial Revolution would be able to help benefit MSMEs, and how that would be able to push e-commerce forward. There are many things that Tassilo would be able to speak about. I won't spoil the programs, but we have been discussing, and we are hoping to discuss a bit more tomorrow as well if everyone avails. So the third panel discussion is a special one. It is a panel discussion. We are partnering with Bruegel in order to prepare it. Bruegel will be taking lead on this one. They have representatives from a very diverse background. We have representatives from Spain, from Japan, from Korea joining, and we also have Bruegel themselves joining as well. I believe the moderator is a senior fellow at Bruegel, and we are looking forward to a wonderful discussion from them as well. The closing remarks itself, we are very happy to have a representative from France joining. It was a partnership that we worked with the Embassy of France to have a minister level joining us, and we are very happy to have his participants. We have the chairman of the EEC joining, and to be closed off with the Deputy Prime Minister of Cambodia, His Excellency Onporn Munivot. The final slide that I do hope to present to you is the key dates that we are looking forward to. Today is, of course, the outreach webinar that we are preparing in partnership with that the EuroCham is preparing in partnership with the MOC. And the 17th will be our first initial deadline for the registration process. So we hope to encourage all the participants here today to please hurry and do your registration. And if you have high level or distinguished delegates that you would like to receive for us to prepare a personalized invitation, please let us know. We are more than happy to oblige. And we will also begin our RSVP's session procedures from the 17th onward as well. The next key date is, of course, the program that we are partnering with the EuroCham to prepare, or the EuroCham is partnering with us to prepare, is the CSR award ceremony, and which is something that we are highly looking forward to. His Excellency Minister has expressed his keen observation of the program, and he hopes to be able to see all of the wonderful companies to be receiving the awards, especially in terms of their social investment into Cambodia as well. So on the 24th is, of course, our main program. It is a full day program. This is the main program that we are would be highly appreciated that you would be able to join, view, discuss, and keep it in mind for future references, especially in terms of the development of your company, your policies, your businesses as we go forward into the new normal. On the 25th of November is the delivery of the chairman's statement. This is a delivery by His Excellency Minister for the ASEM Summit itself to world leaders. It will only be a 3-minute speech. So finally, I just hope to present to you our website address. This is a very simple address to our website, and it also includes the registration page as well. The website is aeebf.moc.gov.kh. Please feel free to visit our website. If you have any questions, we have contact details on the website. If you want to register, please do so. If you do not want to register, please email me. I am more than happy to answer any questions. I believe it's a very double-edged sword, because as Jenny knows, once you start working with me, I will just keep texting and texting until you get bored of me. So this is the website. Lastly, I do hope to mention our wonderful partners that has been able to assist in the preparation of this program. The first, of course, is very important, the Asia Europe Foundation, who has been working very closely with us from the very beginning, especially in terms of building the nominee list, building the concept note, and the advisory and consultation on how to proceed with the programs itself. Bruegel for the assistance, especially in terms of giving ideas and pointers on how to prepare the program, as they are very experienced in the preparation. We do have another partner that we haven't received a logo for, which is Business Europe. They were the previous head of the Asia Europe Business Forum, with Ms. Eleanor Catella as one of the key person. And we have our wonderful partner here, the EuroCham, which I had mentioned before, we met since 2019 about the program, and it's now 2021, towards the end of 2021, and we are still working together. So this is a friendship that we do hope to keep going forward, especially now that we have a very strong team and a very committed team in terms of working together. We are working very closely with the Cambodian Chamber of Commerce. Initially, we were preparing to do an exhibition to highlight Cambodian products physically in Cambodia, but due to the transition to a virtual program, it was more difficult to fit that program in. And of course, last but not least, the Cambodia Development Council, the Council for Development of Cambodia, which has been our main partner, in terms of building everything from the very get-go, from the very beginning, and the concept note wouldn't be what it is today without the assistance of the CDC as well. So thank you to all of our partners, and especially for this program to the EuroCham. So this is the end of my presentation. Thank you again, Your Excellency, and distinguished colleagues for your attention. And I do hope to hand the floor back to the EuroCham to proceed with further programs. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency Bora, for your insightful presentation. So next, may I please invite Mr. Denis Sainte-Marie, the Executive Director of EuroChams, to give his presentation on the special edition of the Business Opportunities in Cambodia Investment Information. So Denis, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going also to share my screen. I assume it's done. So thank you very much, Your Excellency Samheng Bora, for this.
I'm sorry, Denis, we cannot see yet your screen. Ah, okay, it's coming. Thank you.
You can see it?
Yes, we can see now. Thank you.
Excellent. So thank you very much, His Excellency Samheng Bora, for your extensive presentation. It is amazing actually to see how Cambodia is nowadays aligned with the global priorities and trends. It's a testimony of a remarkable progress made by this country in less than 3 decades. If I may, I will be back to my initial topic, which was to present to the audience one of the side initiatives that we have taken together, and this is the business opportunities in Cambodia. As Executive Director of EuroCham Cambodia, I am very honored that EuroCham team partakes with the Ministry of Commerce, thanks to the assistance of the EU delegation in Cambodia in organizing those side events and publication for the first Asia-Europe Economic and Business Forum. Among them, there is this business opportunity in Cambodia, investment information, with a special edition that is released today in advance of our the 24th November ABF Forum, but also of the 23rd November CSR Award ceremony. It's my pleasure to briefly present the main feature of these special editions prepared by both the services and the advocacy department of EuroCham Cambodia with the support of the events and design team. This book initially was released earlier this year and is composed of 5 sections in order to give a comprehensive outlook of Cambodia, but also to give practical tips to establish your business in Cambodia and to take full advantage of its pro-business environment. The 5 sections are an introduction to Cambodia, a presentation of the reasons to invest in Cambodia, an update on the major industries and the opportunities, also very important sections on infrastructure with major progress made both in physical and digital infrastructure, and an extensive section on practical information ranging from visa issue to business structure to registration process, taxation, and intellectual property rights. All of that is going to be extensively presented in a few minutes by my colleague, Mr. Tom Hesketh. Today's special edition released on the special occasion, the first AEBF, contains 4 words of His Excellency, the Minister of Commerce, Mr. Pan Sorasak. The message of His Excellency gives a comprehensive update of the main achievements, 2021 achievements, ranging from the expansion of the interministerial portal regarding registration and licensing, the new law investment, the remarkable management of the COVID-19 pandemic, and many other achievements, but also a message from the EU ambassador of the ambassador of the European Union to Cambodia, His Excellency Ms. Carmen Moreno, with very inspiring remarks on the Cambodian Europe partnership towards an inclusive and sustainable growth. And also the forwards of our chairman, which outlines the unique opportunities offered by Cambodia, ideally located in the heart of the Greater Mekong sub-regions. There is also a presentation of a concept note on the purpose of this particular forum. It's a detailed agenda. We have received an extensive presentation by His Excellency Samheng Bora just a few minutes ago. Also, very importantly, we will organize our complete CSR edition by organizing on 23rd of November hybrid events co-chaired with the Minister of Commerce, His Excellency the European Union Ambassador, in presence of His Excellency Sokchanda, Minister attached to the Prime Minister and Secretary General of the Council for the Development of Cambodia, which is also organizing the first ABF. This event, this process, is going to be extensively explained by Ms. Lyze Bentoto also in a few minutes. And finally, we will have also in this special edition almost 10 pages of update regarding the remarkable progress and made towards a progressive and modern legal framework in 2021. And it will be the purpose of the topic of the presentation, but my colleague, Mr. Noë Schellinck, our advocacy manager, is going to give in a few minutes also. And finally, just to remind you that on our website, there are many other publications available that you can download at any time. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Denis, for your presentation. So next on our agenda item, may I please introduce and also invite my colleagues, Mr. Tom Hesketh, the Deputy Director of EuroCham, to give his presentation on the business opportunities in Cambodia. Thank you, Tom.
Okay, thank you. I'll just share screen now. So hopefully everybody can see this. And first of all, I have to say thank you, Excellencies, for joining today. Thank you, Denis. Thank you, all colleagues, for putting together this business opportunities guide. So to welcome you to just my short 10-minute presentation on business opportunities in Cambodia. Denis has already gone over the special edition of the Business Opportunities Guide. So to avoid overlap, I'll try to focus on introducing Cambodia and some of the key highlights to those who are just considering to enter the Kingdom of Cambodia. So this is the deck that we use to encourage other European companies to get started in Cambodia. My presentation will cover the perception gap we see people have of the country, the challenges and opportunities faced by our members, and some data sources to learn further about the Kingdom of Cambodia, and some of those have been previously mentioned. So indeed, my name is Tom Hesketh, and I'm the Deputy Director of EuroCham Cambodia. To date, this is the largest international chamber in the country, comprising and offering services to the German, French, Nordic, Italian, and Benelux business communities. So for section 1, the biggest problem we have in Cambodia is, at EuroCham Cambodia, is what we call the perception gap. Cambodia is more than just ancient temples, though of course it has these in abundance, and it offers far more than just agricultural products. And agriculture makes up a decreasing portion of GDP each year. It has also very much moved on from its past many in the West associate Cambodia with. In fact, this topic is very rarely discussed by most Cambodians, who instead choose to look forward, aiming to improve their future living standards. Indeed, as you can see here, Cambodia is a very different place to even a decade ago. The capital, Phnom Penh, has transformed into an exciting urban hub, complete with restaurants, international schools, and increasingly sophisticated retail and entertainment offerings. I really hope you can see just the changes that have happened in this country and in this city in this photo here. I really like the view of Ko-Pitch, which in the previous photo is barely existing here. So you can really see the growth. As another example, you can see the previously sleepy coastal city of Sihanoukville, which would be unrecognizable to anyone who visited even 5 years ago. As Chinese and local investors have undertaken vast projects towards the vision of creating the Shenzhen of Cambodia. And this is quoted by the Phnom Penh Post, as well as numerous Chinese news outlets. I can say that Sihanoukville is much more beautiful than it looks in the bottom photo as well, since the roads have been complete. So indeed, it surprises many to learn that Cambodia is actually one of the fastest growing economies in the world, averaging well over 6% GDP growth per year for the past 2 decades, and it was even the fastest growing economy in ASEAN in 2019. COVID-19 has, of course, had a huge impact on the kingdom, but it's expected to rebound quickly. With the IMF earlier this year, it may have changed slightly, predicting 6.2% growth in 2021. So many of our own members at EuroCham, of course, suffered during the pandemic, but many also used the time to rethink and refine their offerings and they're now very much ready to hit the ground running in a post-pandemic world. And I can include EuroCham in that number as well. So Cambodia's economy over the past 2 decades has been built on 4 key pillars: tourism, agriculture, garment manufacturing, and construction. And you can see just how important they are by the number of people they employ, both formally and informally. So that's the numbers you can see in each corner. So for example, agriculture in the top left employs around 3.5 million workers. Cambodia has been particularly successful at creating an export-focused garment and footwear industry, taking advantage of competitive HR costs. But times are now changing. Wages are rising in Cambodia as it develops, and Cambodia needs to diverse away from the simple cut, make, trim garment manufacturing it relied on in the past. It has started to see some success in this area already, however. Indeed, it's been a beneficiary of certain geopolitical shifts. So these include the recent coup in Myanmar and increasing US-China tensions that have caused caused people to consider Cambodia as an alternative manufacturing destination. And it's just one example of this. Many people don't know that actually Cambodia is the #1 bicycle supplier to the EU at the moment, and that exports grew substantially in 2020 in the midst of the pandemic. So there have also been exciting investments into electronics and automotive parts manufacturing by Japanese giants such as Yazaki and Sumitronics. And we're really hoping we can encourage more European investment in manufacturing in the future. So Cambodia is also seeking to improve its productivity, particularly in agriculture. Certainly most Cambodian farms do not look like the one in this picture quite yet, but relevant to those on this call and for European investors in particular, if you're listening in, 26% of German exports to Cambodia were for machinery, including agri-tech, and this is representative of trends from Europe in general. The prospect of technological leapfrogging is also at the forefront of policymakers' minds. For example, Cambodia switched directly to mobile data. It's already trialing 5G. I think it's moved further than trialing. It has extremely high social media and internet penetration rates. A recent survey by Konrad Adenauer Stiftung suggested that social media was the primary news source for around 80% of their respondents. It even has the 2nd most advanced central bank digital currency project in the world, Bakong, and this was ranked by Bloomberg. So indeed, many opportunities in Cambodia can be found aiding this technological leapfrogging and supporting productivity enhancements in general. So where are the other opportunities? So Cambodia's young population has and will continue to be a driver of much of Cambodia's economic growth. So 52% of the population are under the age of 25. This may have changed slightly again. But as this young and increasingly educated population has graduated into better jobs, the level of consumption in Cambodia has been rising. So just one symptom of this is the retail bonanza described by our member, CBRE, in their recent Fearless forecast. So retail space is expanding rapidly in Cambodia. So luxury brands such as Burberry, Dolce & Gabbana, and Coach all entered in 2019, seeking to develop early market share. And more affordable brands, such as the French sports giant Decathlon, are also finding their Cambodian branches to be some of the most successful in the region. So overall, I hope in the previous section, I've convinced you that there's far more to Cambodia than meets the eye. And in the next section, I'll describe how our members feel about doing business in Cambodia. And first of all, so who are our members? Well, some of the largest companies in the world have invested in Cambodia, including German giants, BMW, Siemens, French giants, Decathlon, Cambodia Airports, Vansi, UK powerhouses like PricewaterhouseCoopers, Jaguar Land Rover. It really is a vast section of European companies that have decided to make the jump into Cambodia. And we regularly ask them what the advantages and challenges are to operating in the kingdom. So although this is an outreach webinar, it's also clear that Cambodia is not without its challenges, though it does present many opportunities. So in general, those investing in Cambodia will enjoy a business-friendly environment with a government keen to promote FDI through initiatives such as its special economic zones, the Qualified Investment Project Scheme. And Cambodia has also revamped its investment promotion law to be ready. Well, it's actually completed it, as my colleague Noë will talk about in the next presentation. People entering Cambodia will also enjoy competitive HR costs, a strategic location, and relative ease in repatriating profits. At EuroCham, we've also seen a government open to dialogue with the private sector, and in general, most foreigners in Cambodia enjoy a good quality of life here. However, of course, they will also have to endure some of the highest energy costs in the region, infrastructure challenges, but these are being improved, and sometimes lengthy and non-transparent procedures. Cambodia is also sandwiched between its two highly competitive neighbors, Vietnam and Thailand, both of which it relies on for much of its imports of processed goods, though again, this is improving. So in terms of the hard data, this is quite a heavy slide, but just to summarize, I've included our recent business confidence survey results in the deck for you to review in your own time. But here are the primary advantages, cost of human resources, taxation, and here are the primary obstacles. Again, I'd encourage you to read this in your own time. However, I'd like to leave this section with a note of optimism that in our latest business confidence survey conducted in May 2021, this was in the middle of the pandemic when we were all being locked down in Cambodia, 60% of our members still expected to grow in 2021. And we really look forward to updating these results to see what their members are saying now, now that things are starting to open up. So I don't have too much time for my final section, but I know further macroeconomic data will be shared later on by Noë. Overall, I hope to have shared some key highlights of Cambodia and maybe to have changed some of the perceptions you have of this growing country. For those wanting to know more, we have a wealth of information, hard data, and detailed descriptions for each sector in our recent publications, many of which you can see on our website. This includes our business confidence survey, as well as our business opportunities guide. We also have webinars on almost every key sector on our YouTube channel. So as just an example of some of the key sectors of opportunity, which I recognize I've only skimmed over in the presentation, you can find opportunities in education, pharmaceuticals, healthcare, renewables, ICT, green tech. These are all areas EuroCham is working to promote as well. So in this report, we highlight key data points, FDI into Cambodia, imports, exports, etc. So I'd really encourage you to look at that if interested in investing in Cambodia. We, of course, also offer market entry services to firms wanting to expand into the country. Please reach out if interested in these. And as my time comes to a close, I just wanted to thank you all for listening and to thank all honored participants for taking part today. Yes, feel free to contact myself or any of the other EuroCham team members if you have any questions or want to learn more about EuroCham itself or Cambodia. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you for your presentation. So like Tom have mentioned, next my colleagues Noë will take over and do a presentation on the developing toward a progressive legal systems. So Noë, I pass you the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Ratanak. You can move to my first slide, please. So yes, thank you everyone again. Thank you, Excellency. Yes, it's great for me to be here to be part of this webinar and indeed to give you a short update about Cambodia's recent legal development. And as been mentioned before, the Cambodia that we know today, it's of course a relatively young country. Last week we had our Independence Day in Cambodia, so it's a good opportunity to remind that the current legal system that we know in Cambodia is a hybrid legal system. It's a bit of a merger of the Cambodian customs, the old French civil law system, but also the common law, mainly due to the influences which have arisen from the foreign aid assistance in the past. So I could say wherever you are from, wherever you are listening in from, you will feel at home in the Cambodian legal system for sure. But this little introduction for me also to make it clear that Cambodia has been making big jumps forward in a relatively short period of time, as was also very visually pointed out by Tom before. My 5-minute presentation today will have 4 angles, just a few key things that I think that you need to know if you're going to invest in Cambodia or if you're going to be involved here in any other way. Next slide. So for my number 1, let me take that big jump forward to today, but actually towards a law that connects the beginning of my story with nowadays quite well. And that's the law on investment, which has been referred to already a few times in this webinar. So not so long after Cambodia enacted its constitution back in '93, it also adopted its first law on investment in '94. And this, in my opinion at least, really illustrates that openness of Cambodia towards investment, towards FDI, already from the beginning of its recent history. Our chairman Tassilo also mentioned that from his own personal experience as an investor here in Cambodia. And it's now today, exactly 1 month ago, on the 15th of October, that Cambodia promulgated a completely new and modern law on investment. And the key thing that you need to know here on that new law on investment, just in 2 words, is that if you have an approved investment project and your area of investment is in one of the 19 identified sectors, which are specified in the law itself, you are entitled to quite strong tax incentives. And those sectors that are incentivized, they are very forward-looking. So think about technology, think about R&D, green SME clusters, infrastructure development, etc. But also more classical areas such as agriculture and tourism, they are being served in this new law on investment. And they are being served with strong tax breaks. So investors, they can in fact choose what type of benefits they want, for a large part at least. So one of the options, if you are an investor, would be an exemption from tax on income for up to 9 years, or a special depreciation regime that allows you to deduct of up to 200% of certain expenses that you will be making. And that is supplemented further by additional incentives. So for example, like a VAT exemption if you buy locally, a 100% cost deduction if you invest again in R&D, in skills training for your employees, etc. And this is just a small fraction of the benefits that are available under that new law on investment. Next to those incentives, the LOI, it also provides so-called investor guarantees. And these are in fact kind of warranties from the government to you as investor, such as, for example, that you will not be subject to nationalization actions when you invest here, that you will not be discriminated against as a foreigner, that you can repatriate your currencies back home, that you can obtain a long stay permit, etc. Some of these are obviously conditional, but just in a nutshell, go and have a look at that LOI. Of course, we can help you with that. And just to finish here, minor side note, this law on investment, it figures in the Cambodia's IDP, its Industrial Development Policy 2015-25. So there is obviously a story and a vision behind this law on investment. It's not just a single shot, of course. My next slide. Thank you. So my next point that I want to make is check Cambodia's free trade agreements. And they are obviously an important part of Cambodia's internationalization, and also its attraction of as an investment destination. So Cambodia, as part of ASEAN, it can of course benefit from the FTAs at ASEAN level. Here in my presentation, I just highlight the ASEAN Trade in Goods Agreement, the ATIGA. It's important because it covers a large part of the free flow of goods in the region. And this ATIGA, it results in less trade barriers, deeper economic linkages as well among the ASEAN member states. On that regional level, another big one is obviously also RCEP, which undoubtedly you all have heard of before, the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. It will, or it's bound to enter into force in January 22, so very shortly. And it covers 15 countries in the Asia Pacific region. And thanks to that RCEP agreement, over the coming 20 years, more than 90% of the import tariffs will be eliminated for a huge trade bloc, a trade bloc which covers about 30% of the world's population. But recently, in addition to that regional level, we also see a move towards more bilateral FTAs. Just 2 months ago, in September 21, Cambodia ratified its very important FTA with China, under which China will provide duty-free status to 98% of imports from Cambodia, whereas in turn, Cambodia has agreed to provide exemptions for up about to 90% of the imports from China. So a very important FTA. Another big one here is signed with Korea last month, and this FTA it would provide more than 10,000 Cambodian goods duty-free access to South Korea. I would say the opportunities for export there are mainly in the agricultural goods sector, but also textile products, spare parts, and electronic components. So these FTAs, and more of them are coming up, by the way. India, for example, is currently under investigation as well. They are a very essential part of the Cambodian government's vision of transforming the kingdom. This hasn't been mentioned before, but the vision of transforming Cambodia from a lower middle income country to an upper middle income country by 2030 and a high income country even by 2050. Next slide. So my third angle, let's have just a quick look at some recent legal developments. And you'll notice that Cambodia is indeed fully embracing and working towards that fourth industrial revolution and a further modernization of its legal ecosystem. So the first one, which I mentioned here on my slide, is the e-commerce law. It came into force in 2020, but it was complemented a few months ago with more specific regulations. And together they regulated the domestic and cross-border e-commerce activities in Cambodia. Next one, also consumer protection is developing in Cambodia. The Consumer Protection Law, it establishes a national committee on consumer protection, and the law in general, it regulates the unfair trading activities, unfair trade practices, labeling requirements, etc. A bit along the same lines, just last month, the competition law was promulgated in Cambodia as well. It's a modern law that deals with, I would say, the classic three pillars of competition law: the anti-competitive agreement, so antitrust, abuse of dominance, and also merger control. So three pillars actually, such as we know them from the EU, but also from other ASEAN member states as well. One thing I would like to mention here, just to finish, is also a nice update of the labor law on the same date as the competition law was issued. An update which provides more flexibility in work shifts, but also introduces arbitration for individual labor disputes, etc. Next slide, please. Next and final slide, yes. So this progress that we have been talking about today, it's obviously work in progress. There is more to come also on the legal front. A few things that I was thinking of in the preparation of my slides here is, for example, a private-public partnership law, which we expect will be very helpful together with the investment law I mentioned earlier for the further development of the infrastructure and the energy sector in the kingdom. On the social side of matters, after the upcoming introduction of a pension system in Cambodia, more work is now also being done to develop a comprehensive social security system. And finally, of interest, because we spoke about e-commerce earlier, also an update of the postal law is forthcoming, which will cater more to the transport business, which is of course essential in that developing e-commerce here. So in a nutshell, big leaps are being taken forward. Cambodia is progressing steadily towards a progressive legal ecosystem on several fronts. Next slide. This is my real final slide, because it's all I can do in maybe just a little over 5 minutes, unfortunately. But know that you can reach out to our advocacy team anytime, to anyone at EuroCham, and we would be glad to assist you, to provide you more information on all these exciting developments. So thank you so much for being here today. And I will hand over to Lyze Bentoto, our CSR specialist, to give her presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Noé. So indeed, so next we have Ms. Lyze Ikopo Bentoto. She's currently the consultant for EuroCham. So Lyze has been in Cambodia for the past 5 years, and she's been very active, and also she's a certified project management expert, and she's also currently a consultant to conduct our CSR and award and ceremony. So Lyze, I pass you the floor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Your Excellency, distinguished speakers and participants. You can go to the next slide, Ratanak. Corporate social responsibility. It's a term popularly used now, but it's actually a concept that can be traced back globally throughout history, such as 5,000 years ago in the ancient Mesopotamian famous code of Hamubari, or the 17th century Japanese mercantilist Suchu Kyaku codes ordering trades to be carried out not just for one's own benefit, but also for the benefit of others. Despite the fact that the idea of CSR is deeply rooted in history, it was only in the 50s that the term corporate social responsibility was officially introduced by Howard Bowen, often referred to as the father of CSR. About 60 years after this first introduction, his theory entered the international spheres and was officially defined and standardized in the ISO 26000. Next slide, please. Even if CSR refers to corporate practices, in reality, it goes way beyond the corporate obligation of compliance or the optimization of business operations for the better. It's a story of collective responsibility and engagement. It is wrong to think the CSR agenda for a greener, more inclusive and resilient future takes place in corporate meeting rooms between business hours or on packaging. No. CSR also fits on institutional and individual level through policies, partnerships, even in the school books of those that are destined to lead communities, reinvent the corporate world, and inspire the generations to come. In Cambodia, CSR is rooted in the work of various local and international organizations and private initiatives, which are all connected on regional and international level, and each have an important role in creating guidelines, trainings, and raising awareness about the importance of CSR. This is also where business associations such as EuroCham, the French Chamber of Commerce, and the American one, to name a few examples, play a key role in introducing CSR-driven initiatives and acknowledge and promote best practices in the business communities. Next slide, please. It is indeed very important to promote and share these best practices, as they can be the seeds needed to cultivate innovation, engagement, and growth. Hosting this competition for the past 2 years has shown me Cambodia does not need an introduction to CSR, but there's already a strong local inspirational foundation of role models, ready to establish a nationwide socially responsible community. Next slide, please. This community is made of ordinary individuals who are doing an extraordinary work individually and collectively through their companies to become impactful, offer sustainable solutions, and improve our life quality. This year's contest was all about creating an inclusive bridge between the youth, SMEs, and large corporations. We have 3 outstanding young visionary individuals and 5 SME companies that stood out during the selection process and will all be introduced and receive a recognition during the award ceremony, which will take place on the 23rd of November. 15 large corporations were selected as well. And on that same night, the winners of the 5 categories will be revealed. Next slide, please. This competition did not only unite businesses and students, but we had the honor to work together with a jury panel of 12 experts from various fields, presided by His Excellency Mr. Sokchinda Sophia and Her Excellency Ms. Carmen Moreno. Next slide, please. To know more about these wonderful people behind these great corporate stories, and also the 3 inspiring young individuals who already have a strong vision for our future, I invite everyone to join us for the award ceremony, which will take place on the 23rd of November from 6:30 local time. You will be able to meet the nominees and discover the lucky winners of the corporate categories online from your laptop, tablet, phone, no matter where you are located. And for my last slides, I have another exciting news. That day, the special Khmer Times CSR edition, The Voice of Business, with everything you need to know about CSR in Cambodia and the portraits of our contestants will be made available during the evening. I am looking forward to it, and I hope you will be able to join us for this exciting evening. For more information, you may also visit the official EuroCham CSR website. I will put the link later in the comments. And I really hope to see you there. And I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Liz, for giving an update on our CSR awards and ceremony. So next, I please invite Mr. Christoph Janensch from Business and Corporation Desk Cambodia, Business Scout for Development Programs, to give his presentation on the special edition of Sourcing from Cambodia. So Christoph, you can have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ratanak. Let me also quickly share my screen. Is it on full screen for everybody? Now it should be. All right. Yeah, thank you very much, dear Excellencies, esteemed colleagues from the European Chamber of Commerce, dear guests. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to introduce to you another special edition. We already heard from Denis about business opportunities in Cambodia. There's another publication I wish to share with you. Allow me one brief introductory remark. My name is Christoph Janensch. I work for GIZ, which is the German Development Cooperation. I work as a business scout on behalf of the German Federal Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development. And I advise companies basically on how to make use of the support programs that development cooperation offers to them. So this is the publication you can see here. We have merged 6 product and supplier brochures published earlier this year into one single publication. It's very comprehensive, 150 pages. And of course, it's published on the occasion of the first Asia-Europe Economic and Business Forum. It has 6 different product groups or sectors, so to speak, combined. These 6 brochures cover pepper, palm sugar, and mangoes in terms of agriculture, and also sustainable textiles, light manufacturing, and handicrafts and home accessories. Within these brochures, you will find at first broad information about the product groups, what makes them special, what makes Cambodia special as a manufacturing place. For example, if we think about the famous camphor pepper, you will learn where it's grown in Cambodia and what its specialty is. In fact, these brochures are quite popular. We have printed 1,200 recently, which the MOC will be shipping to the Dubai Expo. So we, of course, hope that this information will promote Cambodia, will promote Cambodian producers and Cambodian exports. The most important thing, of course, of this comprehensive publication is the company profiles. You can see here 6 randomly selected companies from those 6 different product groups. They're all Cambodian companies manufacturing products made in Cambodia. And the company's contact information is included, of course. So if these brochures and if this comprehensive combined brochure is disseminated, We hope that these companies will see an increase in their exports, in their business activity, especially after this very difficult time of COVID-19. We hope that we can sort of rekindle the relations between international buyers from Europe, but also from all over the world, to support these companies in their exports. And it's a great number of companies, and I encourage everybody to take a look. Cambodia has a lot to offer, a lot of great products, a lot of local products that you might not find anywhere else in the world. And this publication has been made possible by a joint effort by GIZ, but also by the European Chamber of Commerce and its German chapter, German Business Cambodia. And we're very, very grateful for the support of the Ministry of Commerce. As you can see here, similar to the previous publication, Denis has introduced to you His Excellency Pansora, the Minister of Commerce, has kindly agreed to send us a forward for this publication. Of course, also Mr. Tassilo Brinzer, the chairman of EuroCham, we're also very grateful for his very interesting forward. This publication has been published today, just a few hours ago. You will see the link here on the slide. I will also post it in the comments section in a few seconds. As I said, I encourage everybody to take a look, to get familiar with these great Cambodian products and local producers. And with that, I end my presentation. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, especially concerning development cooperation and what development cooperation might offer you in your market entry in Cambodia or extension of your business operations in Cambodia, please don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christoph, for your presentation. Indeed. So I think as of now, based on our agenda, we have come to a conclusion. So thank you to all our panelists, guest speakers, ambassadors, Your Excellency, for your time for today's webinar session. But last but not least, may I please invite His Excellency Samheng Bora for your time to delivering for the closing remarks of this webinar. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you again, Mr. K. It is a great honor to be able to speak twice during this wonderful webinar. On behalf of His Excellency Minister Lok Chum Tew, the Secretary of State of the Ministry of Commerce, I would like to express my profound gratitude to all colleagues from the EuroCham Cambodia and partners from all chambers of commerce and business that are presenting in this webinar today. Today's event has been a delightful time for everyone, I believe, and I am certain there are a lot of information to take, especially that has been shared and taken into account. I personally value such a setup, including the topics for presentation, and I am very, very intrigued and optimistic, especially from the various presentations on investing in Cambodia, and I look forward to seeing more. And we are heavily appreciative of the partnership, and especially in terms of bringing on the publication forward and on the CSR program going forward as well. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to recall the opening remarks of Her Excellency Secretary of State, which has highlighted the upcoming event of the AEEBF1 to be held virtually on the 24th of November 2021. And in this connection, I am pleased to inform that the event is still opening up for registration, and you can always get more details information, including the concept notes of the speaker's profile and the agenda on our website, which I believe our colleagues has already shared into the chat box. But nonetheless, it is aeebf.moc.gov.kh. And on that note as well, I hope to reiterate what Ms. Lyze has also mentioned on the program, the CSR award program as well on the 23rd. And I do hope that everyone will be able to join both programs. As one of the organizing secretariats, I have a bold confidence that the AEBF will be to an extent contributing highly to the heightening collaboration between public and private sector, promotion of best practices for businesses, participation to the global value chain and the fourth industrial revolution under the backdrop of multilateralism. Also, our forum will touch upon advocacy and the advocacy on effective means of human resource development through the transfer of technology, particularly the development of digital skill, as well as the enhancement of science, technology, and innovation through collaboration with business and direct investment from abroad, which our colleagues from the EuroCham has highlighted very extensively and very thoroughly, also very interestingly for me in terms of a viewer on the possibility of investing in Cambodia. And we do hope to see more investment from Europe to Cambodia as well. And I am forever optimistic that there are a good number of our colleagues joining the webinar today that will be participating in both of the CSR award ceremony as well as the Asia-Europe Economic and Business Forum. Finally, to include our webinar today, I would like to reiterate that I, as well as our colleagues at the EuroCham and all of the chambers of commerce are committed to providing full support and facilitation for businesses and investment in Cambodia, and to attain more achievements for everyone involved as well. At the same time, the Ministry of Commerce of Cambodia will continue to enhance the cooperation with our partners in order to restore growth and transform Cambodia into a country of prospects, resilience, and development. And this is to reiterate as well the comments from Her Excellency Ambassador Ms. Moreno on the future development of our partnerships together in terms of pushing Cambodia towards the new normal. I hereby announce that we have come to the conclusion of the webinar with fruitful deliberation of the outcomes. And I wish you, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good health, safety, and success in all of your endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency Bora, for your closing remarks. And indeed, thank you to Excellency Kamrang, Ambassador Moreno, distinguished guests for your time this afternoon. So, like His Excellency Bora has mentioned, we look forward to welcoming you at the EuroCham CSR Award and Ceremony, and as well as at the AEEBF events. So, thank you all, and we wish you a very good evening. Thank you.